It is another busy morning in the Tesla news department, and the stock is up, and it's just up a little bit, and I think that's probably going to be the situation for a while as we head into earnings next Wednesday. Which, by the way, I'm sorry, I got confused and I said that it was on Tuesday a couple of times. It's actually on Wednesday, which is common. That's normally the day they have it. I don't know why I didn't double check my math. Anyway, let's go ahead and again up a couple of bucks in the early going. Markets in general are mixed this morning after being hit so badly yesterday, but the bond situation is improving. So maybe over time we'll start to see mortgages coming down back down again because they popped up over the last couple of weeks. To everybody's surprise, except some folks who suspected that maybe there would be some at least increase in the bond yields. Certainly, no, I don't think anybody predicted that they would go back over 4% again. Certainly not me. I said 3.75 was going to be the max. All right, from AJ this morning, he says, look, Tesla saw a strong China sales week two with 8,500 vehicle registrations. He says the gap between 2024 and 2023 sales is growing. 2024 sales outpaced 2023 sales by nearly 26,000 vehicles so far year to date. The trailing 12-week sales remains very high, 163.4 thousand vehicles. Strongest week two of a quarter in over a year. And this is the time of year typically that new vehicle launch window in China for various cars. Tesla has added, I believe, a 7-passenger. It's remarkable Tesla sales are holding up this well despite a plethora of new vehicles directly competing in the Model Y and Model 3 segment and have comparably lower price points, but not value. AJ, come on. It's all about value. Extremely positive reports coming in from Whole Mars and Dirty Tesla, among others, regarding 12.5.6. I mean, I forget which one it was. It might have been Whole Mars that said he would be perfectly happy to sleep in the back seat of the 12.5.6 being under control. So that's a pretty good statement. But yeah, overall, 12.5.6 apparently is outstanding. Okay. And by the way, here's a real switch over the last, I would say, 5 days. 5 days does not an absolute trend makes, but it's being reported even on by Barron's as a trend, and that is that BEV business in general, the news about the business aspect has been trending toward the positive. One headline after another is suggesting that three things are changing. One of those is the choices. We got way more choices now. Tesla alone, of course, has added a truck and will be adding a lower price vehicle. Then you've got the pricing coming down. Of course, that has helped. I think the biggest thing is the infrastructure. I'm not hearing people screaming. I haven't seen a headline in months about, oh yeah, you can't get charged. Oh, you can't take your car on a long trip. Everybody switching over to Tesla's methodology for charging and allowing people to come into the Tesla charging stations. I think that's going to go away. And I think that you're going to see BEVs starting to pop up. Now, for Tesla, I think the question has really been more, as I've mentioned over and over again, I think about the Osborning of the Model Y this year. I think if that didn't happen, I think Tesla would be far, far ahead. Not complaining, Elon, but I told you in January, February that you needed to get that Juniper out faster. But maybe you had your reasons. I don't know. In general, however, I think we're going to see very, very positive 2025. Moreover, there's lots of very positive news on the electric semi, and most important of that was DHL's recent statement. You know, maybe if you're not in the freight, maybe you don't pay that much attention to freight companies. DHL is, you got the FedEx, you got UPS, and then you've got DHL. They're way bigger in Europe. But they announced that it ordered 10 Tesla semi-electric trucks back in 2017. They haven't received them yet, but over a 2-week trial period this summer, DHL Supply Chain USA took a thorough look under the hood of the Tesla Semi, integrating the e-truck into into 3,000 miles over that time of normal operations out of Livermore, California. The trial included one long haul of 300 miles, fully loaded with a gross combined weight of 75,000 pounds, and confirming that Tesla's ability to carry typical DHL payloads over a long distance on a single charge. DHL says it is able to confirm that the Tesla Semi is capable of 500 miles on a single charge with a full load. This is absolutely what Pepsi's been saying. But more importantly, DHL confirmed it achieved 1.72 kilowatt hours per mile on an average during its 2-week trial. During that trial, the trial vehicle averaged, that's what they just said, for half of its time on the road. The result exceeded our expectations and even Tesla's own rating. So that's good to hear. Hopefully now Tesla and others can start producing electric trucks en masse, and we'll have cleaner, quieter highways where trucks do not struggle uphill or lose control downhill. This all according to Electrek. In other reporting by Dylan Loomis, DHL also said that the drivers preferred the electric trucks with less noise and much less vibration, among other things, contributing to them feeling better at the end of a day of driving. Back to the electric article, DHL says that they are ready to roll with the Tesla Semi after this trial. It is currently planning the integration of the vehicle with their U.S. division. The company has much larger operations in Europe, and Tesla, of course, recently said that they're going to bring the Semi to Europe. For now, of course, Tesla is building that factory in Reno. Okay, based on news out of Berlin yesterday, I now believe that Tesla will either hit 4 million vehicles sold in 2026 or at a bare minimum ship 1 million units in the fourth quarter of 2026. That would be without any additional factories being built except the new phase in Berlin. That 1 million per quarter starting in the fourth quarter of 2026. I think that's doable, and there's plenty of reasons to believe that, even including comments coming out of Tesla. One has to suspect that the approvals on the other 2 phases of building out Berlin will move fairly smoothly, as they will not be touching any water or tree nerves. And moreover, I think Germany right now is probably going to be like, we need to really boost up our auto economy, because some of the other automakers in Germany are losing market share. Model 2.5 and Juniper, along with increases in Cybertruck production, could easily get us to 2.7 million units in 2025. I think that is a done deal. It is possible that the capacity at Austin is far greater than 1 million units. I think it's probably maybe closer to 2. It's also likely that more buildings can be added to Austin. We have lots and lots of property there, and then there's the property in Mexico. Based on the current negativity around China, I would be also inclined to think that India talks might also get reignited. Now that things are starting to move in a more positive direction, I think we might see a lot more activity in terms of building up production capacity. I have Bending reporting SpaceX requested authority to lower the altitude of its next generation Starlink satellites, bringing them closer to Earth, and for permission to use authorized frequency with more flexibility. Granting these modifications, SpaceX said, will deliver fiber-like broadband. You hear that? Fiber-like broadband and ubiquitous mobile connectivity, and help close the digital divide for billions of people. It's just unbelievable what Elon is doing. The next generation of Starlink satellites, which are so big that only Starship can launch them, will allow for a 10 times increase in bandwidth and reduced altitude, faster latency, Musk said on Monday. I'm also really wondering what has happened with the utter collapse of Stellantis. AJ also reporting this morning. Stellantis, the world's 3rd largest automaker after Toyota and Volkswagen by revenue, released, maybe they're not in the units, because it might be that the combination of Kia and that other company They might be more in units and Stellantis in volume, in dollar volume. Sales are down by 279,000 vehicles, or 20% year on year. 20% drop. The primary driver was a major collapse in sales in North America, where vehicle deliveries dropped 36% year on year. It's bizarre. All right, then Holmar's catalog. He doesn't give a source on this, but he himself is a very trusted source. So I'm just gonna, for now, I'm just gonna take him at his word. He's saying this is coming from Tesla themselves. Plans for new vehicles, including more affordable models, remain on track for start of production in the first half of 2025. These vehicles will utilize aspects of the next generation platform, as well as aspects of our current platforms, and will be able to produce these on the same manufacturing lines as our current vehicle lineups. This approach will result in achieving less cost reduction than previously expected, but enable us to prudently grow our vehicle volumes in a more CapEx efficient manner during uncertain times. This should help us fully utilize our current expected maximum capacity of close to 3 million vehicles, enabling more than 50% growth over 2023 production before they need to invest in new manufacturing lines. Not space, not buildings, more lines. Our purpose-built robotaxi product will continue to pursue our revolutionary unboxed manufacturing strategy. So this is Randy Kirk, and what I want to say to you guys is thank you for just being great fans of the channel. We have just reached 9 million views and are almost to 25,000 subscribers in just 2 years. I think that's pretty good. What do you think? I'm just appreciate that you support the channel just by watching it, especially if you watch more than, I've mentioned this over and over again. Even if you're bored after 7 minutes, just let the video continue to play. That's really going to be a help. And then, of course, those who comment regularly, that's a massive help to the channel as well as to me to understand what you guys are thinking. I really enjoy your comments. I know it's so difficult now for me to respond to all of them and also do X and also prep. I don't know if you know, I spend probably in excess of 50 hours a week on this channel. Most of all, a hat tip to those who have helped produce the channel through Patreon, or have added to the financial capabilities by buying some of those Cybertruck bottle openers. Now, this is the time to start doing that. It's time to start joining Patreon. We need to build up the channel just a little bit more. We're doing fine, but it's still not a very great business. Hey, it's a great business proposition in its second year, but we're going to have to do better in order to make it a great proposition in its third year. All right, moving on to more stuff. Thanks. All right, the price index for U.S. imports decreased 0.4% in September, the largest one-month drop since a 0.7% decline in last December of 23. The September decrease followed a 0.2% decline in August and a 0.1% advance in July and June. But you got to take into consideration, this includes fuel, oil, all that kind of stuff, which, as you know, is very volatile. If you take out fuel, which is a better way to look at this, then import prices ticked up 0.1% for the third consecutive month in September. Higher prices in September for non-fuel industrial supplies and materials, consumer goods, and automotive vehicles more than offset the lower prices actually on foods, feeds, and beverage prices. So that's good news. That is positive news. That is a news that will help in terms of the overall inflationary aspects. However, I'm noticing some reporting out today that food prices apparently are moving up again in the United States, even though the imported food prices apparently are moving down. So why are the prices moving up? And this was in really some commodity food products, which do matter when you go shopping. All right, I have got, let's take a look where we are in the markets this morning. Starting with Tesla is up still $1.90. That's about where it's been. It's been up and down, but about $2. has been its normal position. Oh, look at this. The Dow, the NASDAQ, and the S&P have all started going up. The Dow has been up pretty much all day, but the NASDAQ and S&P have now recovered. They're in positive territory. So we got the Dow 179, NASDAQ 25 up, S&P up 14, and then you've got the Magnificent Seven, however, all down except for NVIDIA and Tesla. That's really bizarre. The NASDAQ is now up, but I mean, Apple's down 3. Meta down 8, Microsoft down 5, NVIDIA recovering back up $2.79. The Cathie Woods are all up this morning. There you go. That is in keeping. That makes sense. I'm not sure why the Magnificent Seven are doing so poorly this morning. Even the NASDAQ, I would think, would be doing better because, as we'll see in a minute, the bonds are continuing. It's always hard to say whether they are yields are coming down. That's how I'm going to say it. All right. And percentage-wise, Dow Jones up 0.41, NASDAQ up 0.11, S&P up 0.21, and Tesla up 0.74. Okay, here we go to the bonds. And we have got, believe it or not, we're nibbling at going back down under 4% on the 10-year, down 2.8% after being down yesterday substantially. So that's like in 3 days, we've come down almost 100 basis points. Is that right, 100? Anyway, come down from 4.1 to 4.0. The 2-year, I always have trouble with power at 10. You know this about me now, right? Power at 10 is always where I'm pretty good at math, but when it comes to power at 10, sometimes not so great. All right. We've got the 2-year down 2.3. Also, we've got 2.3 basis points. We've got the 3-month up slightly this morning, 0.7 of a basis point, and the 2-month down 0.5 of a basis point. All right. So this is good news, though. Very exciting to see. Here we are. We're actually under 4. I'm sorry, that's not true. Looked at the wrong thing. 4.01 is the number as of this moment. Okay, let's go ahead and look at the oil. Oil is down some more this morning. Not very much, just 14 cents in Texas, and Brent at 12 cents. But we're sitting at $70.43 on Texas Intermediate, Brent at 74.16. I think we'll be back into the 60s shortly. That's just my opinion. It is not investment advice. Natural gas continues to fall another 3.6% this morning. And yet we were just told that it's going to be a cold winter. I think there's just way too much natural gas out there. $2.40 now. It's the lowest we've seen it in quite a while. Gold continues upward. It was actually over 2,700 earlier this morning. Now it's at 26.97, so very close. That's up 18 for the morning. Silver is up 1.73 at 32.3. We might be going back towards recent highs. Remember, there was a spike years ago, so we're not going to ever, years and years it'll be before we ever pass that all-time high. But in terms, it's kind of like Tesla. Anyway, copper up this morning 0.97% at 4.38. We have got the Japanese yen, the dollar up against by 0.33, down against the euro 0.13. And Bitcoin continues to move higher and higher and higher. Tesla moved around some Bitcoin from pocket to pocket or wallet to wallet or something. Anyway, they moved some Bitcoin around, and there were some articles about that this morning. I didn't read them. But anyway, 946 up. We're sitting at 67,782 for our Bitcoin. And there you go. That is where everything is this morning. Not a lot of business news out this morning. The political news continues to be very strong right now for Trump, moving ahead in almost all of the swing states by enough percentage to be believable. And the betting markets are now 15% ahead on Trump. This may or may not be affecting the markets because most market watchers believe that a Trump victory would be good for the economy and good for markets. Not everybody believes that. Big Wall Street article this morning that was They said they talked to 66 economists, and across the board, it would be horrible to have Trump. Obviously these 66 economists must have been, 55 of them were liberal and 10 of them were conservative. So you can't trust that kind of a article right now. But in general, you'd expect that business will do better under less regulation and lower taxes. Okay, so I mean that's just in general. All right, so later on this morning, what do you got? You've got probably Scott Walter. I don't have an absolute certainty on that, but if Scott is not available, we will have an excellent show in the middle of the day. And then tonight, Jeff Lutz, generally speaking, will help us talk about the good news. And of course, go back yesterday and take a look at, you know what? You should look at what Brian and I did yesterday. I'm going to put both cards up, but also go back. Another amazing show with Nicholas Gibbs. You definitely want to see that. So I'll put both cards up there for you to go back and check out. All right. One last look at Tesla continuing to slide back and forth around in that area, down, up only $1 at this point. But that's where it's been $1 or $2 pretty much all morning. It was actually negative for a minute, but most of the time it's been around $1 to $2 up. All right, that's all I got for you today. As always, and again, just let me thank you. 9 million views on this channel. That's pretty cool. Thanks a lot. It's been great talking to you.